the world of food processing, we kind of divide foods into several different categories based on their acid content. And one of them would be, here we have an example, apple butter. This is a naturally high acid food. Most fruits are. And kind of the critical pH limit there is 4.6. So most fruits are going to be well below that. And that means that they're inherently safe with respect to a lot of different kinds of bacteria and other disease-causing organisms that might grow in the product. Makes processing them a lot easier. Then we have foods that are definitely low acid, high pH foods. Mushrooms would be an example of that. Most vegetables are going to fall into that category. These foods are not as inherently safe, and they require a much different type of processing than a high acid food. Then we have foods that we call acidified foods. This would be an example of that. These would be pickled jalapeno peppers. Jalapeno peppers, that's a vegetable. They're naturally low in acid, high in pH. But we've added vinegar in this case to bring that pH down below that critical limit. So we can process these just like we would a fruit product. Basically, that involves a pasteurization type process. So we get them up to roughly 190, 200 degrees Fahrenheit. We may hold them for 5 or 10 minutes at that temperature. That's sufficient to kill those microorganisms of concern. A low acid, high pH food, that's going to require a much more extreme thermal process. For a product like this, we're going to have to cook this for about 15, 20, maybe 25, 30 minutes at a temperature of around 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Obviously, that's not something that you can do at home. That requires some kind of pressure cooker. In the industry, we call that a retort. And sometimes we get inquiries from folks, hey, I have a pressure cooker. Can I make these at home and sell them? The answer is no, you cannot, because that kind of home-style equipment doesn't meet the regulations required for the type of processing that these types of foods need. Last thing I want to mention, if you're doing any canning at home, be sure and follow the recipe. We talked about these products that have vinegar added to get that pH down below the critical limit. We have had some folks that didn't really understand how important that was. They cut the amount of vinegar they were adding because they didn't like the flavor. That had the effect of raising that pH up above that critical limit, and all of a sudden you're dealing with potentially a very serious health hazard. So do take that seriously.